All right, let's get into it. We're at the start of the Ardmore Rock and Ride 55 plus Masters. We're coming up on the first turn. I'll walk through the course on the first lap, then talk more about the race. So this is turn number one. Comes right after the start-finish line. They moved the start-finish line more east this year on Route 30, so you got a little bit more runway to get to turn one. Come to turn one. At this speed, it's not bad. It's a nice wide turn. Come down under the railroad tracks. This road surface is a little bumpy, a couple changes in surface. You go from asphalt to newer asphalt to stamped to concrete back to asphalt. Now you're coming up the slight back stretch. It's a slight grade, not much at all through Suburban Square. There's some road construction up here on the left side, but no big deal. You do a slight bend to the left here, straightens out again. You can come up and you'll see in a second here up on the left side there's some road construction going on. People moving out to the right a little bit. Right there, the gate comes out. Then we'll have a right-hand turn that's by the dry cleaners. This is really I would call this turn 3. And then we have turn 4, which is a left-hand bend around. Again, this one's not too bad. Then we come up to turn 5, and turn 5. This one, there's usually something happens every year here. People cut the inside, and you'll see a little bit. You can hit your pedals really easy on that curb and jump across. So once you come through turn 5, you cross back over the railroad tracks and come back down the bridge to Route 30 to the start-finish straight. So now, at this point in time, speed gets up there pretty good. There was a little bit of a headwind today. This is also very, very slightly uphill, not much at all, but this is a fast part of the race. And I do like the fact that they moved the start-finish line further east on this road. It's much nicer than in past. This is another one of those where the finish line never seems to get towards you. You'll ride and you'll ride and you'll ride, and you're like, the finish line's moving further away, but it really doesn't. It's just an illusion. So now we're coming up to, I think we're coming up here to the start-finish. Oh, we passed already. Never mind. Sorry about that. All right, so now we're back into the race. So again, this is the Ardmore Rock and Ride Criterium. Really nice event. They shut down downtown Ardmore. Route 30, for those of you that aren't familiar with the area, is like one of the main roads around here. They close it for a couple blocks, route traffic off. And they have it. It's like a city festival. They have bands out playing. Over here on the left is Suburban Square. They have some bands playing in there. On the other side of the course, when we're coming back to the start-finish line, there's a microbrewery back there that has a big parking lot. They have bands playing there. There's food. There's activities for the kids. There's a kids' bike race. There's a lot of things going on. Now, last year they did this on a Saturday, so you definitely notice a difference in the crowds this year from last year. But it still was well attended. Our race was at, I think we started at 1:15, and they are very good about keeping a schedule. We went off on schedule, and it was a good race. There were plenty of people cheering. Back here, you're coming to the back side of the course here. This is the residential spot. You're out of sort of the shopping district. So not a lot of people back here. But then once you get back across this bridge here and get back up onto 30, the crowds start building again. So as is the case with a lot of the races I do in this area, there were two big teams here. I'm behind one of the Bigfoot guys right now, so they were well represented. And the other team that is always at these races is Active Yards, so they were well represented. So you've probably heard us say before, when I go into these races, my strategy is to try not to go to the front, try to watch either Active Yards and Bigfoot get in the move and see if I can get across them, because I'm never going to win a sprint. It's just not what I do. But if I can get into a move, I would give that a shot. So there's a start-finish line this time. So we're just seeing what's happening here. This is only the second lap, so everybody's just sort of sitting in, seeing what people are going to do. Getting a feel for the course, getting a feel for who's riding. And you can see at this moment, I'm pretty far towards the back of the group, but it's early in the race. It's a 45-minute race, and I explained before how that works. They take the average time of like your first 3 laps, and once they figure out, let's just say that your lap time's 3 minutes a lap. I'm just making numbers up. 3 minutes a lap, and you've done 3 laps. So they take 45 minus the 9 minutes for the 3 laps you already did, which leaves you with 36 minutes, and they divide that by 3 and say, okay, you have 12 more laps after 3 for a total of 15 laps. Hey, that was pretty good. I must have practiced that. But anyway, so it's early in the race. I'm not worried at all about anybody going from this far out. So I haven't really thought about moving up yet. I'm just riding. I haven't done a crit in a long time. I think my last crit might have been back in June. Probably was my last crit. So and just getting used to riding back in a bunch again. I've been really focusing on gravel racing this season. That's a spoiler. More on that to come probably in the next month or so. I've got a gravel series of races I've been doing, and I'm going to make one video on that when the series is done. But getting back to the crit, here you can see one of the guys who crit. So there was a guy that won the National Criterium Championship, and there was another guy that won I think it was a track event, a track national championship. They were both in this race, so it was pretty cool to see the guy with the red, white, and blue jersey on and the matching socks. Cool kit. I got to spend a lot of time riding around. Didn't talk to him all because this race was going pretty good. Didn't have a lot of time for conversation during it. One thing that definitely happens on this course is as you come out of any of the corners, there's always going to be a surge. And you'll see it a lot in this. Like it's a very spiky power-wise thing. Never really bothered me. You can recover. There's plenty of time to recover. You just want to make sure that you don't allow gaps between you and the guy in front of you, because you definitely want to stay in the draft on this course to be able to get that recovery between efforts. So like you can see, go around this corner, I'm at 0. Coasting down the hill. But you'll see when I come around this turn, when I come around turn 2 here, you'll see, or you should see, my power is going to ramp up, and it's going to ramp up, pretty significantly. I'm going to, because I'm surging to get back and stay on the wheels, because everybody comes out of that corner, you sort of coast into it, you take your line, then you got to sort of bust out of it. So it's a surgy race, and this is just, this is the way it is. So I don't mind those kinds of races. My legs mind them, and every once in a while my legs will get tired and say, yeah, we're not going anymore. But this race didn't really hit that. I felt okay. I think that one thing I definitely noticed from all the gravel riding I've been doing is it's really a strength builder. My strength feels really good this season. But like I said, I have not done a lot of crits, but the couple I've done, I've been happy with how my legs feel. So again, we're early in the race. I think we're in the 3rd lap now. Just coming back across these tracks. Earlier, some of my teammates raced the 4-5 race, and they did good. They represented well. I have to give a special shout out to my teammate Brian. He actually got caught up in a crash, and at the time, he went over his handlebars, so he did get the neutral lap. At the time, he had thought he had just hurt his elbow, but turns out after that night it was hurting more, and I guess he got it x-rayed and he fractured his elbow, so he's going to be out for a little bit. But he finished the race, and he actually caught back up to the group. Took him 2 laps to get there, but he caught back up. So shout out to Brian, shout out to Chris, shout out to John, who did a really nice job in the 4-5 race. So again, a lot of the usual guys that I see when I do these are here. In particular, I don't know if you just saw the guy in the all black kit that was up on the left hand side, Ron, who does a fabulous job of photography. He does all the photography for the races that he's not in. Really does a nice job. But he's someone I always keep an eye on. Ron is a single rider like me. We don't have teammates when we're out here, so I like to watch Ron. He's a really good reader of races, and I mean he this race really reminded me of the Energizer Bunny. He would just keep going and going and going and going. So I was looking for an opportunity to get into a break with the right composition of people. So like, for instance, if Active Yards was there and Bigfoot was there and 1 or 2 other guys, that would be something that'd be really good. That'd be something that, would be worth trying to get onto. And this is another thing that would happen once in a while, coming into where this construction was, people would sort of sit up a little bit, catch their legs, catch right there. Ron is in front of the flag jersey. you got a good chance to recover. So you could put out an effort, and then all of a sudden, you could sit up a little bit, catch your breath, and go again. So, I've moved up a little bit. I'm in the front group, so to speak. I don't know exactly how many people were in this race. If memory serves me right, I want to say it was between 40 and 50, I think. But don't quote me on that. I usually do a better job of looking, but I was running late this morning of the race to get down there, so didn't really check to see who was all signed up for it. But it is fun. Now, as you come out of this turn, you'll see if you look closely, there are right where the yellow line is. It's like cemented out, and then there's all these little yellow reflective things. So every time you cross the line or do anything else, you hear this clank, 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 clank. So there goes Ron making his first little attack, and an active yards guy's chasing him. Now, for whatever reason, I got on the front of the bunch. I hesitated. If I was going to go, I should have gone, but now I'm sort of stuck, right? So now I'm stuck with these guys, all behind me. And Ron and the other active yards guys, I think they might be chasing somebody's out there. No, they were the ones that went first. But now at this point, I'm just sort of like, all right, well, I'll ride here. I feel okay. You can see I'm not putting out a huge amount of power. I'm just riding. I'm like, yeah, if I can get up to him, I'll get up to him. And then as we come around this corner, I'll put in, a little bit of an effort, nothing killer. And then I'll move over to the side and just see if somebody else wants to pull through. And generally with me, I don't know what it is. Maybe they just have me sit there. But you can see my power's way down. I'm not pushing to catch these guys. I'm just riding until somebody gets tired. And there you go. Somebody came through. So now, when I see them starting to move, then I'll move back over and get back on their wheels. So again, we're still early. I think we ended up doing. I want to say we ended up doing 17 laps. So we're not even a third of the way in yet. But now, so this is one where I'm looking at this. I'm like, hey, this has potential to be a good break if you get to these guys and you all work together. Now, what I didn't realize is as I was coming across here, everybody behind me was coming too. So this wasn't going to stay away. Right, and here you can see everybody's coming back through. So that one got shut down. But that's what I'm looking for. That kind of break, if that goes away and I can get to that, where you have, both the big teams are represented and a couple other guys in there. And the guys that were represented from the teams, those guys, they would work. They'd want to try to stay away. So I'm just like, okay. And you can tell I was feeling pretty good because, again, I came to the front and figured, okay, let me go see if I can get up to these guys. There was no reason for it. It's so early in the race. I don't think this is going to stay away either. But, yeah, I just can't control myself sometimes. And Ron decided he wanted to have some fun too, so he came by. And I'm like, oh, then I must have been right because if Ron's going, then I should be going as well. This turn was fun. If you took that turn at speed and you got the right line, it was fun. Same with this bottom one. You didn't have to take any speed off to come through this. Even if you were two across and you knew the guy that was next to you and you were riding good, there was no reason you had to scrub speed. You could go through that turn at full speed and not worry about it. So now we're in the back stretch again. Now, a little bit of power, but nothing killer to get back on Ron's wheel. But again, if I looked behind me right now, the whole group's there. So again, this isn't really going to go anywhere. I'm just sort of staying close to the front. You can see here comes the main group. Now those two are probably going to counter. But I have to say, I really, really do like this course. I like a course that has a lot of turns, not just going around in circles. I like the turning aspects of it. So for me, the more technical the course is, the better. Get much more enjoyment out of it. And it's surprising, this little bridge, you wouldn't think it's much. But when you're on the flats and you're going across and you want to just come over this little rise, it's I'm staying on my big ring, And it's like, well, you either can drop down just a couple cogs in the back, or you can try to really get on top of it and try to, hump across the thing. And it's not always the easiest. Now this was, oh yeah, I forgot this one. So this is one of my efforts. So this was a preem lap. So that's why I was staying close to the front. Because when I woke up in the morning, one thing I told my wife is, I'm going to go try to win a preem today. So a preem is that for certain laps during a race, I've explained this before, for certain laps during a race, they'll ring a bell and say that, the first guy around the next time around wins what they call a preem. It's just an in-race prize. So I won that preem. And this is another one of those situations where I look behind me and there's a little bit of a gap, but at the same point in time, I'm not going to be holding up the field for, we probably have almost another half hour racing. So I'm pedaling, but I'm not doing anything to try to keep a lead or to open up a lead. I really just wanted to win the preem. So there you go. I set out for a goal and I got it. And actually wasn't bad this year. I got some Rita's Water Ice coupons and what was the other one? It's a breakfast place that my daughter knows about, but got $100 worth of gift cards to that. So my daughter will use them. But anyway, so now you can see like I'm pedaling, but now I'm just sort of waiting for everybody because I'm not going to go by myself. And pretty soon you're going to see them coming back, and I'll sort of slip back in. Yeah, I forgot about that the preem was pretty early in this race. The one fun thing I have to say that I do like being up front is, you can take the line you want, which is a good line, and you don't really have to worry about it because there's nobody on the inside, there's nobody on the outside. You just pick your line and you go. So now they're back with me, and now just settle back in for a few more laps and see what happens. And the other thing is, so I had a couple conversations with people afterwards, and like, well, don't you think, you could have saved all the energy you used at the beginning towards the end? And the reality of the situation is, yeah, maybe, but still, again, the only way that I would ever be in contention for any of these races is to get into a break that sticks. I'm not going to out sprint these guys. I'm not going to go solo, 3 laps left and go solo. I just don't have that kind of power. There's really, really strong guys in this race, as evidenced by, we're doing, I don't know, 26 miles an hour. I think we averaged close to 25. So these guys, they race hard week in, week out. It's not an easy race. So, I go for little things here, and I try different things, and plus I'm not disciplined enough to stick to my plan, which says, don't go. Maybe one of these days as I get older and more mature, not. But again, like I say, every race when I'm with these teams, the Bigfoot and Active Yards guys, they really, you can tell they know their teams. They work well together. If they see something that's threatening, you can guarantee one of their team is going to be in it, covering the break or leading the break, or they'll send guys off the front to test and see who's feeling how and that sort of thing. So, I said it before. I've got the best seat in the house to a really cool race. I just happen to be in it at the same time, but it's fun watching them. You can see, like, for instance, at that point in time, there was only one Bigfoot rider up there, and there's his teammate going by to get back up to Bigfoot. So the benefit of that for me is, I can just follow these guys at this point, because they're gonna try to close it. So it makes it a little bit easier to gauge your efforts. And again, when I say I have to close, like, it's not like I got to get there instantaneously. It's just, you got to pace your effort. You can sort of gauge how the speed of the race is going. And even here, like when I caught here, these guys slowed down, so I really had to, I backed off a little bit. So now this is another good time. This is another good time for somebody to put a counterattack on, because it just came back from, a group of guys who were a little bit off the front, not much. Everybody's sort of settled in a little bit, and we'll see if something goes here. There were like little attacks, every other lap, every third lap, something like that, just to see. Because I tell you, I forget what year it was. It was a couple years ago. Somebody went with like 5 laps to go, and they stuck it. I can only dream. Well, now you can see, like, so there goes an active yards guy down the left side. Good move, Everybody's sort of sitting up, just sort of seeing what's going on. So nobody reacted, nobody chased. So this is a good strategy. See if you can tease out a Bigfoot guy to chase you down, to be up there, or even open it up a little bit, because your own teammates aren't going to chase you down. Hey, and there's my buddy Joe. I think this might be the first time I see Joe today. And there's Matt. So this is a spot where I always wanted to try to be behind somebody, because, like I said, you had a little bit of a headwind, and it's a very, very slight uphill. Nothing killer, but again, this kind of thing where you can see, like, all the power just backed off, right? Everybody sort of came back together. The surge is done. Even the guy that went earlier, you can see him right there on the left side. Everybody's coming back to him. Coming up to start finish again. We've done probably, I think we might have just finished our 8th or 9th lap. Nobody's really on the gas yet. Everybody's back together. And it is fun. Like, I have certain people I watch to see what they do to determine what I'm going to do. And then sometimes I just do whatever I want anyway. So no rhyme or reason. Just keeps it fun. All right, so there's one where Ron's now going to bridge up to that guy. But this is where I like to be too. I like to be, when I can be, I like to be, more towards the front of the group. I gotta believe I'm within the top 20 positions. There's 2 guys up there, and I can't count that fast how many are in front of me, but it's not a lot. So the good news here is you tend to stay out of trouble, because this part tends to be faster. You get better lines going through corners. You're not as crowded. Like, you can see, we're single file now. We're going at a pretty good clip. So that really helps you stay out of trouble. Again, you can see on the left side, like, as you're going, you'll see when people start to sit up like that, you'll see that it tends to slow down. And you can see there's going to be a counter move there on the right side. And that was one where, I was saying to myself, if I can get up to that, they have the right teams in there. So And again, I didn't jump out to get up with it, so when I don't get full power to go and close this down, I end up bringing everybody with me. But at the same point in time, if people aren't paying attention and you happen to get across, well, this has the makeup of a brake that could stick if they wanted to work together to keep it away. So I just figured, hey, go up there, see what happens. Now you can see it's slowing back down again. People are sort of wondering, okay, what's going to be next? There goes Ron again. Now there's another reaction. People are going to start going. He's pretty crafty that way. Picks good times to jump on it. Now my thinking, and believe it or not, I really was thinking about this. At that point in time when Ron went, I didn't see a reaction from the group I was with. So I'm like, okay, so Ron's going to go out there, but he's going to be brought back. Because again, the big teams that are there, they're not gonna let Ryan go off, on too long of a leash before it gets shut down. So now one of the active yards guys going to chase Ron. Now this is one I like. So like he flicked his elbow and I come through, which that fine with me. I like doing that, right? So at some point up here, I'm flicking my elbow like I have a broken chicken wing. It's like nobody, really, nobody's coming through. But again, it is what it is. I don't mind it because, like I said, I didn't feel bad. I'm just not gonna. I'm not going to ride at 500 watts to close Ron down by myself. So, either you can come through or you're going to go the speed that I go. Which is actually is hard for me to do. It's hard for me to see somebody up there and not chase them down. But at the same point in time, I know if I do that too many times, I'm not going to finish the race. So this is one of those situations where I'm just like, okay, I'll ride here, but we're going to ride at my pace. And if you want to change that, you're going to have to come around me and do some. So you can see a lot of times, like I'll move over to the right side just to see if anybody will come, because I have a much easier time looking to my left than I do to my right. I don't know why. But this way, I can see if somebody's coming up on the left side and react to that, if so be, right? But again, now they're starting to come back through. But even this, you can see like it's not a full-on chase yet. Just sort of riding. Like Ron hasn't opened up his lead at all. Just sort of going through and shutting down. Like it'll get closed down. And you ask him, well, Chris, why are you at the front? Why not? What else am I going to do? I'm not doing a whole lot at the moment, but at least I get to pick the line I want to ride. I think pretty soon here somebody else starts coming through. So while we're talking about, so up here you see this tent on the left side. That's the neutral support area. So like if you had a crash or you needed a flat tire or something like that, you can pull in there with up to 5 laps. Go check in with the officials, and they'll let you get back into the race. Now right by the start finish to the left side there, that's the spot where I was telling you they have bands back in there. There's like a beer garden area. There's a microbrewery back there. It's a nice place to go, after race and hang out. All right, so now they're getting a little bit more serious about going to catch Ron. The pace has picked up a little bit. Not that Ron's really opened things up, but I think we might have 4 or 5 laps left to go. So now the big teams, they want to position themselves right. They want to be ready for the finish. Not that they're going to go from here, but they want to bring things back together and regain control over the race. Sorry, I got thirsty. I had to wet the old whistle so I could talk some more. So again, it's really fun. You'll be like in third or fourth place, not really doing anything. You turn around and you're in like 20th place, but it's still close enough that you can move up or back really pretty easily. So I will also say that the Bigfoot team definitely recruited some more people. I think they might have had, I want to say 7 guys in the race this time, which is the most I've seen for them for one of these, which is good for them. It does make it a lot more fun watching Active Yards and Bigfoot go at it. I think Active Yards still has the power in numbers, but it's definitely a competitive thing now, which is again, I have a great seat to it. I get to see it. Don't always get to see what's happening at the very front, but get to see it. So you can see there's 2 guys off the front a little bit. Third guy bridging up to him. But even so, this group's not that far off, so I don't think that's going to stay away. I have to say too, for me, when I come under the railroad tracks and then through that turn, it's really hard for my eyes to regain the focus going from the shadow to the bright like that, and then the road surface changes. You just have to really trust yourself. You've been through it enough times that you know what it's going to be, and just stay on your line and go through it. But it can be a little unnerving, especially if your eyes don't quickly adjust from going to dark to bright, back to dark and bright again. And actually, just a little bit of a spoiler because it'll be hard to catch, but on that last curb right there, on the very last lap of the race, I think it was a guy, he might have been next to me or right behind me. He clipped his pedal, and when you might be able to see it, I can't remember if I got it on video or not, but that really caused not a big gap, but it caused a gap. For a couple of people behind me, because you just worry. Like, I've seen it where somebody clips their pedal there and they end up going all the way across the road and take out 4 or 5 people. So it's you gotta just pay attention. Even in something like this, when you're riding along, you have to really pay attention to your surroundings. Like in the 4 or 5 race on the backstretch by that where the road sticks out, there was a crash. Straight part of the road, no turns. They were on the far right side. They weren't even near the barrier, and 2 guys, they must have just overlapped wheels or something. And they went down, and that's the one that caused Brian to go over his bars. You just, it's fun to race. I really, really enjoy it, but it's tiring because you've got to be on focus the whole time. You can't just go out here and pedal and be like, yeah, I'm gonna just do what I want. You gotta really be paying attention. Like, this guy came up on the inside, you gotta know, hey, I gotta hold my line, he's gotta hold his line, or bad things are gonna happen. And I think that's part of for me, that's part of the excitement too. I like being in the moment. I like, being in the race, feeling the adrenaline rush of going, as well as, making sure that, I'm watching who's around me and hopefully they're doing the same for me. So we're getting pretty close to the end here. I think we have two or three, I'm going to say after this lap, I believe it'll be 2 laps to go, I think. Yeah, I tried to use my lap counter this time so you can see there's a time up top for the race time. I tried to do my lap counter so every time I came across the start finish it would say, lap one of whatever. But unfortunately, I need more lessons on how to do it. I didn't quite execute it right. So hopefully I'll get better at it as time goes on. So now you can tell, like we're getting close to the end. People are trying to figure out their strategy because coming across that bridge, nobody was even pedaling. Everybody's sort of like, okay, so who's going to go where? Who's going to do what? You see people going down the left side. You see everybody's over here on the right side. Just sort of trying to figure out who's going. So for right now, looks like the left side won. They got the vote that they're going. So again, now this is one where I wanted to get in here, right? Because hey, who knows what's going to happen? We're close enough to the end of the race. There's enough people up here. A gap could open up. So I put a little bit of an effort in, stayed on the wheel in front of me, and at this point, putting out a little bit of power just to see what happens. But these guys are sort of sitting up. You can see how you can sort of tell because I just came right up to them. Now Ron's going to go again. And make a half-hearted effort to get to him. But then again, you can see they started and they sort of stopped right away. And so now you're sitting here thinking, oh wow, well I'm in third wheel and there's only 2 laps left to go. Doesn't matter. Again, I keep saying these guys, everybody in this race is fast. Unless you've got a big gap, and I'm big, I mean like a minute. You're gonna have a hard time holding off a charging group of guys. With 2 laps to go. And we definitely don't have that. Again, if I had a rear camera, you'd see the whole group right behind me. And this time I decided I would stay with Ron. I came by Ron thinking, okay, maybe we can work something out. I know there was somebody behind me. You're going to see him come by me in just a second here, but I don't think we ever opened up a gap. So I think when Ron just went there and I went with him, and the guy behind me, I think we were all pretty much still with. We were just on the front of the group, but we were still with the group. But I was happy with my activeness in this ride. I mean, I still don't. I got to do what I do, because I'm not part of one of these other teams. I just go off and I see if I can make something happen, get part of something that is happening. It's just it's fun, and it's really cool when you're the first one to go under the start-finish line. You hear your name in a loudspeaker. I just have to say that, especially when I pronounce it right. So now you can see, I just pretty much sat up there. Because I wasn't staying away from these guys. So I am pretty sure that the next lap will be the bell lap. Be able to tell in a second because you'll see everybody sort of scrambling to, yeah. So it's this is definitely not the bell lap. It'll be the next lap, I think. Yeah, everybody's starting to move up. So now the teams are trying to get aligned for the last lap. And so before I forget, while you're watching this, please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I just like seeing the likes. I like the subscriptions. Feel free to ask me any questions about the race. Like I said, this is really a fun way to enjoy a bike race by having a great seat to watching these guys work out their strategy. It's really, really cool. But you know, I had fun. Congratulations to the winners of this race. It was a hard race. They rode really, really good to get first, second, and third. I think Rich from Active Yards won first. He was last year's PA Law Series Crit Champion, so kudos to him for a fine job. So it was a good race. Yeah, this is the last lap because I remember coming around here. So like I said, I don't have a finish and kick. I don't have a sprint. I don't have anything like that. So at this point, like I know this is the last lap. All I want to do is once I get over the bridge, just ride good, solid, and steady to the start finish line, and see if I can pass one or two people. So I'm gonna right there. I think you saw the one bike squiggle a little bit. I think somebody hit the curb there, but I'm not sure. And then this next turn, I know somebody hits the curb here, but I don't remember if it was the guy in front of me or right beside me, sort of behind me. But that did knock a few people out. So you can see, I'm still in the top 20 at this point, and I'm hoping to pass some people, between now and the finish. I'll get passed by a few people. So I think overall, I finished 15th or 16th. But it was how I raced. So hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you watch the next one. Again, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel if you want to, and I'll let you watch the end of this race as it rolls through because it's going to stop real quick. And until the next time, this is Chris from the All Man Cycling Show saying peace. Thanks for watching.